Alright, welcome back to a new character. Hopefully we can get as far in this character as we did in the last one. You'll probably notice there hasn't been much time that's passed between the two characters. That's because I I had a break when I was in my work, when I was recording my Chem Tank series, and that allowed me to get quite a bit of stockpile of recordings up until the end of the build. It's taken me a little bit to get everything rendered and uploaded to YouTube. So this build is a archer, a dread archer, I think. It's kind of a take on the arcane archer, but really focusing more on undead summons, as well as pure archery. And the plan is to focus on archery, conjuration, and alteration as the main three, with some alchemy and maybe smithing put in there as well. Smithing or enchanting, I haven't decided. I don't want to do both, but so I'm actually doing this as a voiceover because, not because my mic or recording software messed up like before, but because if you didn't see my video, I posted it I think like a week ago or so, of the attempts, the starting attempts of this build. There was a lot of restarting. Oh, maybe a lot due to the fact that I'm doing such a risky start here by actually engaging these three archers, but I've done it a couple of times, and it's actually not as risky as you may think, because I have this tree here, and I have a skeleton spawn that draws the fire. Here it's a little dicey. But you know, when in doubt, cheese. Get to a spot that they can't get you. And it's funny that he ran away when he could have just turned around and shot me, since he still had ammunition. But the reason I like to actually engage these guys is it gives an opportunity for this build to get some arrows early on, and as well as get both a longbow and a shortbow potentially. Now, it's been a little bit since I actually recorded this, so I can't remember if I get both a longbow and a shortbow in this altercation, but nice. So with this build, I start with Kinrith Necklace for the extra bow damage and stamina. And then I start with arrows, because I know I can get a free one free longbow. Yeah, that's just on the stump next to the chest up here. So we are pretty successful here, and we did get some good insights from the chest as well, which is nice. So just after these three, we have 23 insights. So early on, focusing a lot on conjuration. I want to get that necromancy perk, so I can get some skeletons that last longer than, I think it's 4 seconds. I was debating whether to do ritual or mage for this build, or even Atronach stone as well. I went with mage because I'm going to be playing as like a cannibal, so part of the benefits you get from eating the different meats are magic regeneration. So I'm not really getting the full effect if I'm playing as Atronach. And then I really just kind of wanted the base stamina, or the extra magicka to begin with, not necessarily the regen. Because I don't really need 2 summons early on, because the summons I have are only going to last for a short period of time, so it's not totally worth it to me. Rather just have one summon and then a higher pool of magic that I can access. Unfortunately, I did not get a short bow from those 3 bandits. I think it was 2 longbows and a crossbow, or 2 crossbows and a longbow, but that's alright. Early on, we're going to be utilizing all kinds of bows, not just one type. So longbows, short bows, crossbows, everything. Crossbows are good for getting a nice burst of damage. Longbows are good too, but early on crossbows are just better at getting that burst of damage. And then the hunting bow, or the short bows, of course, are for the mobility. Another risky engagement here. So my philosophy is go for gold. Do some risky shit in the beginning, even if it has a slightly higher chance of death. Especially with a build like this, you're any mages, it seems, are hard early game, especially since there's so many archers. But yeah, go for gold. Do some risky business in the beginning to try and get yourself as far ahead as possible, and then if you die, you die. You just start over, and it's in the beginning. So in the very beginning, I should say, and then it's not that big a deal to start over, which is a partial reason I had so many deaths. That can be seen in the death compilation in the making of this build and another build that I was trying out. Yep, abusing the water mechanics here. Oh, actually got me. So I'm not going to be perking into alchemy early on. I'm really going to be trying. Conjuration and alteration are both pretty perk hungry, especially in the beginning. But since I'm a Bosmer, I have the innate ability to craft potions and poisons without perking into it. So I'm still going to be gathering some of the key ingredients that I need to be able to make potions and poisons early on. Because just like my Kim Tank build, the early game is really going to be my damage. Early game is really going to be supplemented by poisons that I make. And I believe I started when I was doing these. This is when I started using a no-weight alchemy ingredient mod. I just figured that I just went through a whole playthrough where I had to manage my carry weight because of alchemy ingredients. So I figure I'll just go ahead and download the quality of life mod now, not have to pain over it so much. Because, I mean, there are ways to get around the carry weight that I could just kind of, game the system a little bit. Store all my ingredients at the beginning, or store all the heavy stuff at the beginning of a dungeon, and then once I finish and I'm safe, I could just dagger walk and then get on my horse and fast travel. So there are ways to get around the carry weight. I can't think of the word. The carry weight penalties. But instead of just trying to game the system like that, just go ahead and give myself a little quality of life. Oh. So my random encounter for this area is the bandits who are posing as soldiers. So I'm just looking to see if the hunter is around, and then if I can maybe get a, because it looks like there are two two-handers and then one archer. So I want to engage these guys for, you know, for the chance of loot, but I want to start with the, and there's the hunter to help me out too, which is nice. I want to start by shooting at the archer, because early on the archer is going to be the most dangerous for me, because I don't have any I don't have blur, and I don't have any armor, so they're going to be the biggest source of trouble. Then I have my skeletons that I can use to distract the other two-handers. Unfortunately, I don't have a lipo, or else this would be a lot easier, because I could just kite this guy around, but for whatever reason he's block walking towards me, which makes killing him very easy. I don't think the loot I get from these guys is all that great. Just some more arrows. Oh, this is from the hunter. So the restrictions I'm putting on myself for this character is no armor at all, and no other weapons except for bows or crossbows. No daggers, even to break bows, nothing like that. Just to keep it a little spicy for myself. And that is gonna make enemies, later enemies like undead or dwarven centurions a bit of an issue, but I'm also gonna have summons, so not too worried, because I can just have my summons take care of those. I'm getting pretty lucky with running into some to help when I'm taking on these enemies. I had a hunter that helped me out. Now I have these two vigilants of Stindar helping me out. So I also am going to engage the necromancer up here, just to try and see what kind of robes I can get. Usually the biggest weakness for the mages, necromancer mages, even at their high level, they're glass cannons. So ranged, if you can get, oh, that's so unfortunate. If you can get good shots on them and can dodge their stuff, then you can take them on early, but only one at a time, really. And I also have summons that I can use to distract. You actually have to watch out for this because she will do some damage, especially if you, to an unarmored. I think she chunks my skeleton, or maybe that's in other attempts she's chunked it, because she's just running away now. She goes back to get the woodsman's friend. Is that what it is? Where I think she would honestly do more damage, or more DPS at least, but she just had her claws. Woodsman's friend, there it is. I'll go ahead. She didn't turn to ash, so I'll use her for my own. Turn that necromancer's weapon against her. Or really, as bait. I want her to tank a spell before I. But in the end, don't really even need it. And I get a nice sphere. The robes aren't that great. It's no better than what I already have, 160% magicka. But there's also a conjuration book, which is nice up here. I get some alteration robes, which is nice for the reduced spell cost, but the magic regeneration isn't as good as the robes that I have. Also get some insights. So yeah, using all, I'm not saving any graders for now, because I'm trying to push to 25. Because as soon as I get 25, we're in business, so to speak. Because I can actually rely on my summons a little bit more. And I can not just get longer summons, longer skeletons, but I can also get different types of summons that are better than the skeletons. But now we have another, we have a staff, so we can deal with heavy armor. Because we don't have a lot of penetration early on, but now we can deal with heavy armor bandits. Alright, cutting to the 3 bandit treasure bandits. So yeah, not using daggers to break bows or anything, so I have to pick my engagements pretty carefully here. One shot off. Use my skeleton as bait. I just gotta be mindful of the guy who's shooting at me in the back. Oh, and hope that my skeleton can distract them long enough for me to be able to take out the guy over here. But I can't. I missed my shot, so just gonna have to put some distance, some terrain in between. Even if you avoid shooting the shield, there's still some damage reduction that they get just by blocking, having their shield up. And you can really tell the difference in the damage that's done when their shield is up versus what's done when they're like actively attacking, or just are walking without their shield up. And then, yeah, even more reduction if the arrow actually hits their shield, of course, which makes sense.
I'll show you what a real orc can do.
My vigilant buddies. So yeah, I think I did like 27 damage when he was blocking and I didn't hit the shield, 7 damage when he was blocking and I did hit the shield, and then 78 damage when I was blocking, when he was blocking or when he was not blocking. Alright, nice. Get all the goodies here. We're gonna should still be going into conjuration. Yeah. Thanks, friends. Well, actually, they didn't help me, so. And then chill. So yeah, nothing else besides bows. So, or I guess I would use, except for staffs. No, like melee weapons. I guess I would say is the restriction. To yeah, I get a crash here, which is unfortunate. I just pick up from because it was just gonna be me walking to the treasure chest, so I just decided to cut until I get to the random treasure hunter, and then now I'm walking down to the treasure chest. Funny, I was recording with my mic. My mic wasn't muted because you can hear my keyboard clacking. I just wasn't talking. I don't want to have to repeat myself over and over and over again recording these since I die so much. So that's why for most of my series, I think what I'm going to be doing is just doing a voiceover for the first episode, and then after I make it past the first episode, then I'll I'll be recording with my dialogue as I go. And I get a really lucky ring of magicka here. Super pleased with that. It's always nice when you get an enchanted piece of gear from the treasure chest, and it's even better when that enchanted piece of gear, of course, goes along with your build. And we get some good insights. Enough to level up. Eventually we're going to be going into magicka, but we really need the survivability early, so starting out with getting points into health. Because that extra 10 health, especially early on, may be the difference between getting one shot by a bow versus, one shot by a bow versus living with 1 health. So first perk I'm getting is into alteration. I feel like I'll have another perk by the time
That explains what I saw. You're right.
by the time I have 25 conjuration.
When you get to Whiterun, looking to protect yourself or deal some damage.
Especially on builds where I'm not going like an orc or a nord where I can bash apprentice chests. There are 3 apprentice chests in the little bandit dungeon run that I do. There are 2 in Ember Shard, and then there's 1 at the watchtower before Bleak Falls Barrow. I like to do all those bandit camps on my way to Whiterun. And so I get 3 Master Key 2s so that I can open up those chests. Either that, or you can get some. You can buy a Haunting Brew mead, which I've done before. And if you clear out all 3 locations and then do your Haunting Brew mead, I think it lasts like 2 or 3 minutes. I forget how long. And then you can. I've been able to run from between the 2 places and get every chest with 1 Haunting Brew mead. The only problem is that it gets rid of my beef stew buff, which is I want to keep my beef stew buff up because I'm going to continue on to more bandit locations after. So here, just going to craft my initial couple of poisons and potions, as well as get the bandit bounties for the ones that I'm going to do early, which are going to be the Veteran's Retreat, the Swindler's Den, and the White River Watch. Although I don't end up doing Swindler's Den and White River Watch very early, because a couple of the attempts that I had that actually did get that far, I died in those locations just because they have so many archers. So I think I'm going to wait and get some more levels earlier before I do those. Do some other easy bandit camp area, or other easy bandits, or get some easy insights to get level up before I start doing those. So all these poisons are pretty much the same from my Kim Tank run, focusing on recuperation potions, health potions, gradual restore health potions, gradual restore stamina potions, and then of course my poisons, the lingering damage poisons, which are made with I keep the slaughterfish scales as a base because you can get so many of those early on, and then using slaughterfish eggs, orange dart wings, and more tapanella. You can tell I haven't quite adjusted for the build that I'm doing because I didn't make any magica potions. I really just made the same potions that I made in my all my Kim Tank attempts that I had done previously. So there's still some learning to be done here. So we have these 2 bandits up here. Usually it's 1 2-hander and one with a bow or crossbow. So since I'm not breaking any bows, the plan is to target the crossbow or bow. I forget what it is here. It looks like it's a bow with a poison arrow, and then run away from the 2-hander. So this is what's nice about using both the crossbow and the other types of bows, is that the crossbow, you can at least get a quick shot with a lot of damage off. I mean, you can't reload, but it's good for a one-off shot. So there, instead of having to fully draw back my longbow and have this two-hander bandit be able to close the distance, I can just quickly switch to the crossbow, get my one shot off, and then continue with the longbow. And then it'll get even better once I finally now have this hunting bow, where I can then get my the combination is kind of use your longbow to get your initial shot off, quickly switch to the crossbow, get your one crossbow shot off, and then you can switch to the hunting bow and then start kiting with the hunting bow. So yeah, even more insights into conjuration. We're getting super close to 25, which is awesome. So this is where the reward is coming from, the riskier play style of going early. So I got a lot of good insights early by taking the risk of fighting the triple archer bandits, by fighting the conjurer, and fighting the necromancer. So I just got some extra insights that'll allow me to take on some of this the other mid-early game content a little easier. Like, the faster you get to 25 conjuration, the better. Because this build, it needs some defense, and it needs some prolonged distractions, I should say. That's mainly what my skeletons are serving as now, is to take the ranged shots coming from the ranged bandits, so that I can actually hit them with mine. In some of my attempts, I did try having multiple crossbows, where I would go one crossbow, quickly switch to another crossbow, and just have them all preloaded before, and go down my hotkeys with like 2 or 3 crossbows and try and quickly get shots off. But that doesn't work because I think it's something with the non-exploitable crossbow reloading, where when you shoot one crossbow and it goes from a loaded state to a unloaded state, like loaded with ammo versus unloaded with ammo, it affects all of your crossbows. So even though, like, if I fired my iron crossbow, if I switched to my steel crossbow, which was loaded before, it would no longer be loaded after I fired my iron crossbow. So yeah, I do my initial pot shot with my longbow, switch to my crossbow, and then kite with my short bow. Got a little lucky there. Nice little sidestep up from his power attack.
You're dead. You hear me? Dead.
So in the name of not wasting my poison charges, because it's not like my Kim Tank build where I just had it seemed like infinite poison charges off of one poison. I primarily keep my crossbow and my longbow poisoned for those initial shots, and then I only poison my short bow when I'm fighting an enemy, like a heavy armor enemy that I'm kiting, that I need the extra help from the poison. Yep. My combo doesn't really work well when I miss all my shots and my crossbow isn't loaded, so, and that's why I went ahead and used a poison. Oh my god, it's hard to watch. That's why I went ahead and used my poison on my short bow, because I didn't get any of my initial damage off that I like to get, so I'm gonna have to supplement that with poison usage. I spent all that time to line up the shot, and then I just miss. Just have to get good. You're especially early on with this build where you don't have the slow time. Success or failure of this build really relies or depends on how well you can aim. So I know in my mind I'm thinking just have one more bandit left, and then I can, that's all really I need is just to kill one more bandit, and then I'll get all the insights from the chest here, and then I can level up, or I can at least have 25 conjuration, and hopefully level up so I can get another perk to take into necromancy or into the apprentice conjuration. Nice. So I like jumping down here because it doesn't just create distance, but it also makes them have to backtrack to get to you, and you can they follow a predictable route, which makes them easier to hit. It's a little dicey because you're kind of backing yourself into a corner, but you can, oh yeah, and I get 4 insights here, which is excellent. You can pretty easily exploit the fact that they can't swing fast enough, or they can't turn fast enough while they swing to hit you, so you can just run by them. And I'm just realizing at this point that I didn't use my mage armor. I don't think I took any damage, but still. I have my mage armor spell now, so I should be using it. So yeah, more health. And then we should be taking the necromancy perk here. Yep. So now instead of 4 seconds, I think they last for 27 seconds. I'm not sure if I'm gonna show here. 31 seconds. Excellent. And even longer for Raise Dead. I just need to find a bandit that's low enough level so that I can actually raise them. Yep, there we go. I'm not really expecting my summons to do a lot of damage, but I am expecting them to tank some hits and divert attention long enough to allow me to do the damage with my bows. Here we're actually remembering that, oh yeah, I have alteration spells. In a dead is dead, it's important to use all the tools at your disposal. Oh. I'll let my summon take care of that. The other bandit over there. Take care of this orc. Always have to be super cautious of orcs, especially greatsword, because they with the greatsword they have all greatswords have an attack speed, boost, and then orcs with power attacks orcs have stronger power attacks, so the combination can be quite deadly, especially if they're perked at all. Don't want to waste an arrow, so not quite high enough level, or low enough level. The bandit isn't. Now we just have the crossbow or arrow with the ranger bandit to take care of. I see that they're a high level there with my true HUD. But yeah, just like the mages, they may be high level, but they're glass cannons. So as long as I have my summon who can tank the hit for me, or if I can just be patient enough to wait for him to miss so I can pop out and shoot him, that's all it takes. Alright, so now we're gonna see what our loot is. I think we get super lucky here. It was a high level crossbow bandit and they had an elven crossbow. Even though we're using our crossbow as like a one-off, a one-off pot shot kind of deal, I will go ahead and take the elven crossbow just for the having the crossbow's lighter and reloads faster if I do want to go down that route. So, and it's just really supplemental damage anyways, so might as well have a lightweight supplemental damage versus the heavier weight one. So I almost forget to use my keys. I'm deciding what I need to throw away. So interesting enough, with the weightless ingredient mod, there are still some ingredients that aren't weightless, like bees, thistle, lavender. They don't have a lot of weight, but there's still some. Okay, pretty useless chest. You're hoping to see at least some insights, because those keys cost like 400 gold. So using 2 keys and seeing no insights is kind of painful, but take what you can get. But yeah, so that's the initial camping in the woods clear with my Dread Archer. Next episode we're going to continue with clearing some more bandit camps and in a Whiterun area.